Welcome back, everyone, to the Special Event Rentals podcast. It has been a minute, so I'm really looking forward to speaking with Sean today and connecting with everyone again. I would love to welcome everyone. I would like to welcome Sean to the mic today. Sean Barton is the owner of Socials Bartending. So we're going to talk about do's and don'ts today. We're going to talk about the bartending industry, the liquor industry, weddings, everything, and most importantly, what Sean is doing today with his company. So I'm going to just dive right in.
Awesome.
Welcome.
You're good at this.
Thank you.
Off the
Thank
cuff.
You.
No
notes.
There's no notes. There's no nothing here.
Notes are like daunting to me. Like, I feel like as soon as you have a piece of paper and there's notes on it, it's almost like I'm paying more attention to that than fair. Someone here. So,
and we're naturally good at having these conversations. So
exactly.
That's the vibe we're going
Exactly.
for.
So we're going to bring the vibes that we just had in my office right over here, because we dived into a couple juicy stories and just some really great content that we kind of want to share with everyone here today.
Absolutely.
So Sean, tell us a little bit about you and how you came to owning Socials and just your journey into this industry that I think is getting more popular as it's becoming more and more a thing with corporate and weddings to have someone that knows what they're doing in control of the liquor. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so definitely come from a hospitality background, probably since 13 years old, humble beginnings as a busboy, dishwasher, doing all those fun jobs, different restaurants growing up. Always was attracted to the team aspect of it and being able to work with friends and great jobs throughout schooling and sports and the flexibility. I think even to this day, a big reason why a lot of our staff are with us is because they have full-time jobs. They're teachers or entrepreneurs themselves, or they're in school, and this industry is really nice to be able to, have that flexibility. And also a lot of our staff will say that the best part is just being able to have that social aspect to it. Working a desk job or different things doesn't always allow for that sometimes. So to be able to go out and I think one of the biggest things too, the difference between, again, coming from like a restaurant background versus the event and wedding side of things is just the atmosphere and the energy involved with like weddings and events, as opposed to, bars and stuff. Sometimes it's not as much of a positive environment at times, or like energetic. So I think that's one thing that definitely drew me in, without skipping over too many pages here.
Well, I feel like it gives you thick skin, right? It gives you the ability to handle people in a restaurant, busy setting. People that didn't get their steak cooked properly, throw it back at the chef. I don't know. Or you get your drink. Like, I feel like the restaurant industry, similar to the event industry, is just go, go, go. We're always serving. So I feel like one thing you're good at is serving.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's, again, always drew me in just to be able to be alongside people. Like, I was never really cut out for just sitting behind a desk or something like that. Or I just... playing sports and doing all these things, it was always such a team and being around people, and I think that's kind of what I enjoy the most about it. But I guess circling back to how I got into this industry. So growing up and working a bunch of different jobs and finding out what I liked and what I didn't like and what I was good at and what I wasn't good at, again, throughout school and different things. Working in hospitality, eventually when I started into this industry in specific, I was working at a restaurant downtown, and there was a bartending company that came into this restaurant, and that was Strong Bartending, was a huge pillar in Edmonton. They had done a hiring fair for the Black Pearl, which I was working at the Black Pearl downtown. And I was working at OJ's at the time on the north side with a bunch of awesome coworkers. And one of them said, hey, there's this restaurant hiring downtown. I'm going to go apply. You should come. And so there's 3 of us, I think, that went and applied for this job. And all 3 of us got serving jobs there and bartending jobs there. And Strong Bartending was doing a hiring fair because the Black Pearl had basically let everyone at the restaurant go and kind of wanted to start fresh, and they built them a whole cocktail menu and wanted to bring in a newly trained staff, and that's when I got to meet the owners of Strong Bartending, and definitely grateful for them. Brought me into this industry, so I started working a few events for them while also working at the Black Pearl, and was just working odd events here and there. And then actually Glow Edmonton happened, which was at the Enjoy Center in St. Albert. And Strong Bartending got the contract to do that, which was a huge 6-week festival. Or not 6 weeks, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks, sorry. And they saw over 150,000 people throughout those few weeks. And it was, I ended up running it for on behalf of the company. So I was basically living there, which was great because I was just across the street from them. So I spent a lot of time there and did very well. And we had, I think, 40 staff at any point, opening up. They had those light bulbs with the lights in them. Do you remember those? Yep. The plastic drink light bulbs. And I think we sold over 20,000 of those. It was pretty crazy. Wow. So that's kind of was my beginning into this industry. And since after that, I ended up running the day-to-day for Strong Bartending, was running the business, and branched off on my own shortly after that. So.
And then Socials was born.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. So how old is Socials?
Yeah. So funny story is we started, I put the incorporation in through the government at the beginning of March 2020. So basically the same week the pandemic hit North America, we had started the business, which starting an event company the same week as the pandemic was a challenge for sure.
I can only imagine because no events are, I mean, right in that first week it happened. Not to bring us back there, it was a terrible time. But yes, but I guess
so weird looking back on it.
It's so weird. It's like it didn't happen,
I know.
But it did happen. And it's like we've come so far, but we're not there. We're there in different ways. So it's all this like craziness. But you guys survived.
Yeah, no, it was, I think we were just talking about this in the office. I was playing probably more roles than I should have. I had, obviously a lot of bookings for weddings and things like that. And then no one knew what was going on, including myself. And I remember having brides reach out and, hey, our wedding's in 2 weeks. How many people can we have? And I'm like, I'm not really qualified to make that decision. But, I would obviously check in with the AGLC, and then the AGLC would be like, you have to check in with AHS, and then I would call AHS, and I would get a dead phone number, like it wouldn't even dial, and then call back AGLC and say, what are we allowed to do? And they said, well, like we can't determine that. And so that was definitely a wild ride. I remember those 10 or 15 person weddings that were just like very sad, because I think obviously your wedding date is such a special time, and everyone had definitely difficult moments during COVID, of course, but trying to plan and navigate a wedding through those times or an event was definitely a challenging time for sure.
Well, yeah, and most of the vendors I've ever spoken to regarding COVID couples, it's more of a relationship you gained. You had to navigate yourself along them, and then postponing, then it happening, and it wasn't everything it was just, there was so much, I feel like a lot of people learned throughout COVID. Yeah. So as much as it sucked that you got your license right before, I feel like you came out better.
Absolutely. I'm very fortunate to, Socials does over 100 weddings and events every summer. So we're definitely, we came through and conquered that, crazy time for sure. But it definitely was a challenging period for sure. And, everyone had their challenging times, but there was also a lot of silver linings during that time, I think, too. And it made you realize what's important, and, maybe focusing less on material things versus, spending quality time with your family and friends, and gathering of people. I just remember yearning to, just hang out with my parents or hang out with my friends. I remember, during Christmas that one year, didn't even get to spend it with my family. So it obviously made you appreciate things a lot more. But again, I think I feel the worst for a lot of the younger generation and the kids who that was their graduation and that was their, senior year in sports. And obviously the younger kids who, are having troubles now catching up with like literacy and things like that too. It's definitely was
impactful
for sure
in so many ways.
Yeah.
Enough about COVID though.
Yes, I agree.
That is not, we're not going down that path right
agreed.
now, because that chapter is closed. But yes, I do agree. It impacted our whole industry, people's lives in good and bad ways.
Well, and economical too. And I think that's something that we were going to touch on too, is just how much, people's disposable income and things like that have changed. And like, it's such a challenge, I think, because everything costs more now, and, staffing and bills and all that stuff. So it's like, I think it's been the hardest a lot of times from a business standpoint, is like, I've done my best to try not to raise prices, but like ultimately you have to, because you have to fall in line with everything else, right?
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think socials also started off small, but I feel like you've grown really quickly. I think you're in territory where you're not just doing weddings, you are running facilities, you are wanting to expand into corporate, you are wanting to like, socials isn't just weddings and you going on site to a person's home. I feel like it's so much more. So when you talk about, I don't know, your staff and all of that, I'm so curious, like how many staff do you have, what it takes to run a business? I feel like all of these things today go into what you charge a client. And I think all of them are beneficial for your client if they want to pay that price.
I think so many things to navigate when running a business, and ultimately you're only as good as your team, right? And so I'm very, very thankful to have such a great team. And
how many people on your team?
So we're around 15 to 20 staff. We have some that work a lot more, and some that again have their full-time jobs and come work when they can, and appreciate that, and we appreciate that very much too. And again, very lucky to have the team that I do, for sure. It's not the easiest job, especially, working a 40-hour week and then working a 15 or 12-hour shift at a wedding. But I think, again, that comes back to like the energy involved with weddings and stuff. It doesn't always seem like that long of a shift, but, it takes time to drive there, and it takes time to get supplies and then work the shift, and, also wind down afterwards too. Because as I'm sure, working events, it's like you get home and you're wired, right? And it's just like try to calm down.
So much stimulation all night long, and then you get home and you're ready for bed. The
music and the people, and stressing about different things. And when it comes to staff, again, just I'm very fortunate to have the team that I do, and I think that's maybe what sets us apart from some of the competition out there. A lot of our team has so many years of hospitality experience, and again, whether it's working in restaurants or bars or festivals or different things like that, I think that experience and that level of engagement with the group, I don't always know if media or like a proposal that we send to prospective clients can always really portray what that, like how much of an effect that has. And I think people also don't always realize like the bar can be a big centerpiece of, especially like after dinner, once all the formalities are done, like the bar is where everyone congregates to. It's where the fun happens usually. And so having bartenders that first of all can keep up, that's obviously very important. Like there's nothing that I shouldn't say bother, because that's a harsh word, but there's nothing that frustrates me, I guess, or worries me, is like seeing long lines. And I think that's something that I take a lot of pride in, and we take a lot of pride in. Like when we work events, usually you don't see much of a line at all, because we're really good at what we do, and our bartenders actually thrive at being super busy. Like if you have ever bartended before, usually you can probably realize that if you serve one drink every 20 minutes or 30 minutes, it's like you're fumbling around, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, and then next thing you know, you're slammed and you're like much more efficient. It's just like, I think it's interesting how that works.
Two things that come to mind out of that whole little spiel that you just did is how do you find staff? How do you find good staff? Because what you're telling me is like your staff is great.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're educated. They know when they're supposed to be serving. All of these things. They know about lineups. And I find in today's age, I don't know if you're faced with this, but I find staffing is an issue.
For sure,
finding
absolutely.
people. So and in our industry too, when you, like you said, you could be working 15 hours or 40 hours. Like how how are we keeping them around?
Yeah.
Is it because of the size of your business? Is there other things that they can like, or is it just you and your, the morale that you bring to your team?
I mean, I like to think that's part of it too. I definitely wouldn't say I'm the most organized person in the world, and I know I could be better at certain things, absolutely, and building more of a team environment at times, and that's something that I struggle with because I know people are so busy that I almost I really think my staff appreciates how casual it is when they can just pick up a shift and do a great job and make money and then go and do all the other stuff that they have to do. Yeah. But in terms of my staff, I have some that have been there from the very beginning. I've had staff that I've worked with in hospitality since I was, 18 years old or 17 years old. And most of our team is either people that I know personally or someone on our team knows personally. Right. So I would say I'm quite picky on who is on our team, and I need people that I can trust. And I think they need the same thing, right, from me. And so having that personal relationship, not to say all of our team is that way, but I'd say a good 95% is either someone I know personally or one of our team knows personally that recommended and said, hey, I think they'd be a great fit. Yeah. And that obviously just plays such a huge role as having that level of accountability from someone else or that can vouch for someone, because at the end of the day, any business who hires people know that if you're just taking a resume and meeting someone for a 15-minute interview, you don't really get a chance to know that person. So you're taking a leap of faith, and sometimes it absolutely works out, as you know, and sometimes it doesn't. So
I feel like it's great to hear all that, because I'm a true believer in brand recognition, and I feel like when you do hire that caliber, or you do know people or people that you
representing
trust,
the business,
it's more than just a wedding or what's happening on site. It is your brand and what you're portraying, and it also reflects the costs that you're paying.
Right.
My motto is I don't sell rentals, I do sell service. We sell service, we sell everything. So that's kind of what I'm hearing on your end too. Service does matter. It's not just 100%. The product. So whenever everyone's getting quotes and you see a difference in quotes, ask the question why there's such a huge gap.
Or sometimes not as much. And just nowadays, again, I totally understand that budgets are tight and people are spending so much money on their wedding and event to begin with. There's got to be some areas maybe that you're looking to save a bit of cost and stuff, and I can totally understand and appreciate that. I just think, again, sometimes people don't always realize the bar is quite an important part of the day, and it's where a lot of your guests are going to spend from 7 or 8 o'clock till 1 or 2 in the morning potentially. And so having good quality staff that I think, again, something that maybe sets us apart is if we're given because 90% of the time the clients are the ones to purchase the alcohol. We're the ones supplying all the supplies like the mixes and ice and all that stuff. Having bartenders that can use what's available to them and make it a little bit more fun and exciting, and shaking up a shot next thing naming it at the Caitlin, and 10-15 people are coming up and order the Caitlin. It's that those little things I think are such a difference maker, and that's where I think we've gotten so much good feedback is just that memorable experience of someone remembering someone's name or remembering their drink, or someone comes up and they're like, oh, I really like white rum, but I'm tired of drinking rum and Coke. And next thing you know, we're adding a little bit of lime juice and pineapple juice and coconut syrup and shaking on ice, and it's like a mini pina colada shot or something like that. That makes just that experience that much.
It's that connection.
100%.
It's the connection. I recently just went to the ARA. It's a conference that happens every year in the States for the Rental Association. And
where was that held?
Las Vegas.
Oh, no way.
Me and Lars were in Las Vegas, everyone.
I love it.
And Neil. So you can imagine what stays in Vegas. That's the saying? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
You bet. Yeah.
There was this one girl, a speaker, Barbara, and she was just speaking to human connections, how powerful it is.
Absolutely.
And I truly 100% agree with it. I
Energy
agree.
Is everything.
Energy is everything.
Yeah.
Even from the I don't know if you could probably speak to this too, but from the start of meeting a client to the quoting process, there is so many different moments where you can connect with someone and make the world of difference.
For sure.
And then who cares?
Yeah.
It's $1,000 more.
Right.
Done. I'm confident.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is something that social brand has.
I appreciate that.
I think that is wonderful, because I think human connection is everything in our business.
Should we just change the podcast and talk about energy? Should we,
oh my goodness.
Should we sit cross-legged and have some bells ringing?
Next episode. But okay, yes, because I feel like it is super powerful, especially in our industry. Yeah. Not to sidetrack, but events always happen, and they have happened. And I think it's just evolving into how we make moments more special, how we make them more elaborate, or an experience,
and story. AI can't take over our industry, right? ChatGPT, stay away.
I know, and I just want to dive into that too. But anyways, I think what you're saying is super relatable in so many ways. Making those little special drinks for like clients or customers, or just wedding guests, because it's so nice. If I were a bride and someone came up to me and said, oh, your bartenders are great, they did something, that's like a nice investment paid off. Like, do you know what I mean? Absolutely. My investment was what I wanted it to be.
Absolutely. Or little things like bringing the couple a drink when they sit down at the head table, like all that stuff makes such a big difference. And it's very minor on our end too. So it's like anything that we can do to make their day more special and allow them to like relax and feel taken care of. Like, I think one of the challenges of this industry is sometimes like getting too focused in on like all the moving parts. At the end of the day, what our goal is just like make the couple feel celebrated, and you know, you put yourself in their shoes, right? If it was my wedding day, do I need someone to wait hand and foot over me? Absolutely not. But like, do I want, you know,
I want full service.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm paying top notch. I'm paying my investment. I want to be thought of,
and not just you and your guests, and you want it to be an experience, and not just a monotonous person making a rum and coke and here you go. Like, that's not what we're here for. And I think our reviews reflect that we're much more than that. And I think circling back to like the inquiry stage and the proposals and things like that, I think unfortunately in our industry, we don't get to meet every single person during that process of them inquiring. We get literally hundreds, same as you guys probably get thousands of inquiries every year. So a lot of it is done over the phone. It's the only way to make it happen, just with the amount of inquiries we get. So during that time where you schedule a 45-minute phone call or an hour phone call, whatever it might be, part of it is educating. Same thing as you guys too, right? Like, a lot of times they know what they want, but they don't always know like what the best way to do it is, or they, you know, maybe forget about a certain like really important aspect of it. And, you know, you and I were talking about from the alcohol perspective, like the purchasing of the alcohol and the amounts required, and can I take it back, and do we have discounts? And, you know, part of that is just educating and like spending that time to really like dive through, and not just like pitching all of our services and saying please hire us. It's more so just like, hey, this is what we have to offer. Like, part of what we offer is we get cost plus 5%, so 5% markup with our partners for purchasing alcohol. We get, you know, through our partnership with Special Event Rentals, we offer our clients a 10% discount, which like is very, very appreciative. And it's all these things that it's more so than the discounts. It's like trusting that our partners will do a good job. And so anytime I refer someone to you or to Lars or whoever it is, like, I know they're going to be taken care of. And that's a huge part of it, because it is more than just like the bar service. There's a lot of things that go along with it. And, you know, whether it's glassware or different things like that, like, you want to make sure that the delivery is going to be on time. You want to make sure that it's the right inventory and all those things. And the same thing on the liquor side of things. Like, you want to pass them along because that's their business. But you also want to make sure that it's done properly, and like having good partners that we work with. As you know, our industry, it's all about relationships, and it's about the amazing vendors that are in the city. And, you know, whether you recommend a DJ or a catering company or different things like that, it's hugely important for sure.
It's crazy. Every episode I do, we always touch base on the importance of vendor relationships.
Absolutely.
And who you trust, and who like everything you said. And it wouldn't be an episode if we didn't touch on this.
Yes.
But I truly believe that people that you can rely on, people that you want to work with, it just makes for such a seamless event.
Absolutely.
For the overall like execution of everything.
For sure.
Crazy.
You're planning a wedding this summer.
Yeah.
Client came to you and said, I want Caitlin. I want that hammer.
I want her. And I'm like, oh, no. I love the couple and you're going to be bartending.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like such a great experience.
It's things like that.
Shout out to Alexa and Francesco.
Can't wait to work with you
guys. Hey,
guys.
guys. But I think all of those things are so important.
For sure.
When creating an event, even through the planning process when we're on site and even after.
For sure.
The little things of like following up with them.
Yeah,
and all
absolutely.
of these things kind of go seamlessly with what you have been saying.
And like not to be overlooked, like the support, like you've had us here for tastings for your clients who showcase your guys' stuff and wanted to have a little extra, do a cocktail tasting while they get to see the inventory. And you did the showcase at the Last Modern events and like absolutely killed that.
Name dropping. I like it. Last event.
That was amazing. It looked incredible.
Yeah,
I'm not even like, it was so cool. The Cloud9, like that was such a cool theme.
Cool. That was, that was a great, like working with you side by side on that. Like again, the trust. I just said, here's like what I want, and you made it happen. One thing I do want to mention to all couples that are listening, just through what Sean was just speaking about, is be curious. Be curious on your quotes. Ask questions you might think are stupid, because I feel like in our industry, all we do is work with people. We can plug in numbers all day long from our system, but I feel like if you are wanting a certain amount or you're wanting an explanation, don't hesitate.
Absolutely.
Do not hesitate. I feel like kind of what we're all saying is it's all service. So I love when brides, grooms, couples, anyone, corporate planners, all of them, when they are curious, it makes me appreciate them a little bit more. It's like, okay, let me think of this. Like, do you know what I mean? So be curious and ask all the questions you need to ask.
Yeah, it's no different than any other industry. If you're getting a quote and something
like a car, anything.
Exactly.
Hotel.
It's like you have to do your homework and your due diligence, and touching on bartending services in general. It's like, there can sometimes be a cost difference, but you have to make sure you're getting the value of what you want, because at the end of the day, it's like when you're buying a car, when you're buying a house, like you're not always looking for that bottom line price. That's doesn't represent what you're getting, right? Like you want to make sure you're getting the best of what you can. And I don't think, the event industry is any different from that. There's a reason why there's highly sought after vendors, and there's a reason why things are priced the way they are. Everything costs money nowadays. We were touching on like cost increases of cost of living, and the businesses are no different than that. Like staffing and building costs and utilities, like it's all, there's a reason why we're priced the way we are. And if you want to have that good quality experience, sometimes that has to be reflected somewhere, right? And so it's tricky. Like again, being a human being, I understand that my costs have gone up like crazy over the last several years, and so it's like everyone's in the same boat. And all the big conglomerates, they'll start to increase their prices, and it's like I think small businesses like slowly come after, and it's like it's unfortunate that all these costs ends up getting passed, the buck gets passed on to the consumer, and that's just unfortunately the way it is. But it's like everyone's in the same boat, right?
Everyone's in the same boat. Kind of going off into this like money land, I want to talk about do or don'ts. I want to like give some education to couples regarding alcohol. I want to talk about do's and don'ts, but I also find, for me, I was sharing with you that when brides come in here, the last thing they think of is liquor.
Right.
They know it's accessible. They know they're going to have it. They know all of these things, but I feel like liquor plays a bigger part than any bride knows. It is the hub. It can make or break a wedding in cases, not all. And it has to be monitored. Yeah. And all of these things. So I feel like I kind of want to dive in, get some advice that you have for couples, and just get your perspective on a lot of different things.
For sure.
So number one, what is it? As couples, are they leaning more towards cash bar, open bar? Is a toonie bar still a thing?
Great question.
Like all of these things, I just feel like play a huge impact though. Because I have been on site when there has been a toonie bar. It's a lot different than a cash bar.
Right.
I've also recently been to a couple weddings where after the ceremony, they have a shot wall.
Right.
Which also plays a huge part in how the night plays out. But seriously, like, couples don't think of that. So I guess let's talk about cash bars. And is that what people are doing? Are they kind of leaning more towards cash bars? Will do wine on the table and like a specialty drink?
Right. Yeah, no, it's again changed so much. Just like anything in the last 5 years, post COVID, I think has changed so much. Like toonie bars, I definitely think were maybe more of a thing during our parents' generation.
Yeah.
In terms of like, I think even sometimes people think like a toonie bar will be profitable, like in terms of after their costs, which is definitely not the case. Like even 5-10 years ago, I don't think toonie bars would cover all the costs associated with the bar. So we are starting to see, and I recommend, doing a $3 bar or $4 bar.
$3 bar.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Yeah.
What, a 4?
I don't have one for that.
Oh, darn.
I wish I did. I'm sorry.
Because I find 4 is a comfortable number.
No, it is.
Like
it's a
4 for you,
medium.
$1 for the bartender.
Yeah. It's definitely, again, toonie bars are, I would say, a little bit dated just in terms of if your goal is to try and offset some costs.
Yeah.
It's actually crazy the difference even between a toonie bar and an open bar. I don't think it's crazy the consumption, the waste involved with an open bar.
Is it similar to a toonie bar?
No, it's crazy. Like people,
I would think it's similar.
I know, right? And I would agree with you. Like it doesn't seem like what's a toonie nowadays?
I'll go in my car and get a toonie. No,
a $50 bill is basically a toonie.
Yeah, like it's like here you go, have it.
Yeah.
So they're really not the same.
No, I think people are much more prone to like hanging on to their drink and being a little bit more responsible. Like you'll see so many times with like an open bar, people will grab 2 drinks and they'll go back and set it on the table and go to the bathroom and come back and they're like, oh, are these mine?
More ice.
Yeah,
so
or are these mine?
I don't.
Yeah, and go get more. And I don't think it's just like a dissociation with people. I don't think they realize like because they're not paying money for it doesn't mean that the couple's not paying money for it. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Like it's not just out of thin air that this drink is being made for them and it's not costing anything. And it's just a weird thing. Like I've been in that situation. I'm like, oh, it's an open bar or whatever. It's like, no, that's like money coming out of the couple's pockets, right?
Yeah.
So definitely when it comes to a cash bar, you'll see people are a bit more responsible, and you'll see especially late at night I find is the most, or at 12 o'clock or 11:30, and people had a few and they'll come up and they'll grab a drink and set it down and like have no idea where they left it and they don't even care, and they'll go up and grab another one. So definitely a lot more waste involved. Like at the end of the night we're picking up 300 3/4 full drinks versus like a cash bar will notice that a lot less. So
would you recommend to couples to not have an open bar? Do some sort of
I would.
What was it? What was the 3 bar?
Three bar.
Three.
I definitely would. I totally understand whether it's a cultural thing or like sometimes we get a lot of like parents who like refuse to have people pay drinks if they think if they're inviting someone to a wedding they shouldn't have to pay for drinks. And I think our generation, we used to go into an Oilers game and paying $14 for a beer.
I know.
And it's like
crazy, but you don't even think of that when you're there. You get home and you're like, whoa, that was a really expensive night.
Looking at your phone in the morning with that.
Worth it though, right? Right?
Is
worth it. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not talking. Just going along with it. Everyone loves the Oilers.
Right. No, it's well, the way I like to say it is like if it's even $3 or $4 and it in total costs the couple, let's say just as a number, $8 when it comes to the staff and the liquor and the mixes, like splitting that cost in half I think like makes a huge difference. Because if you look at it from like a guest perspective, if they have 10 drinks in a night and it's a $4 bar, that's $40. Like that's very, very reasonable. So it won't break the bank for the guests, but it like that 40 times 100, that's $4,000, right? That like adds my math right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I think so.
Going along with it. Barton.
40 times 100.
You're right. You're right.
That's like significant, right? So it's like the guests aren't out of pocket a whole bunch of money. Like if you or I were to go out and have some drinks, if we were to spend $40 and have 10 drinks, like we'd be so happy. Like
very happy because you can't get that anywhere anymore. But I also find too, it plays into just the overall vibe of the night when you're paying for your drinks.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and it's
I
also,
always recommend some sort of pay bar because like, I don't want to run into situations where everyone is just like either overconsumption or just like waste.
Yeah.
Waste is never fun either.
And I think the biggest thing too is like, the quality of the drinks and service. Like I would feel a lot different about paying $4 for, you know, someone who takes them 2 minutes to make my rum and coke in a red Solo cup versus getting a good quality experience and a good quality drink. And like I think that's again the value of like, you know, hiring a service like ours versus, you know, finding someone off Facebook who says they have their pro serve and wants to bartend your wedding. You can get away with, I think, that's not the best way to say it, but like you can feel more comfortable about, you know, asking your guests to pay $4 or something when you get like really good quality service and you get good quality drinks and a nice, you know, drinkware and different things like that. So I think that all plays like a big part into what that looks like. If you're, you know, at an Oilers game and you're paying $14 for a can of beer, like, are you feeling really happy about that? Or, you know, it's a little bit different because you're there and it's the experience.
Depends on how many beers you've already had.
True. Money doesn't matter after a few.
It doesn't become as big of an issue. Is a honeymoon fund at a bar still a thing? Like, what are we doing? Do people still tip bartenders? What happens at a wedding? Is there a tip jar? Is there a honeymoon jar? Like, what is happening?
My personal philosophy is if you are wanting to do a donation jar, understand that there is a risk of doing that. It can be beneficial. Like I've seen it do really well, and there's been other times where I've seen it do really not well. So you play that risk of doing it that way. I always tell people, like, you know your group better than I do, of course, right? So you know your group. If you think they're going to be generous and still get value out of it and enjoy it, then that's obviously important. But if you're maybe a little bit nervous about it, then maybe just go the route of having a subsidized bar.
And then, so if you do have a honeymoon fund, is there still a tip jar? What happens there? Because I feel like that's confusing.
It's a great question.
Or do you take a percentage?
For sure. My personal philosophy is if there is a donation bar, I do not want there to be a tip jar, because the last thing I want is someone going up and wanting to put a $50 bill or $100 bill in the donation fund and it ends up in the tip jar. Like, I do not want that to happen. No. So I anytime there's a donation bar, I say it's one or the other. Like, I do not want there to be a confusion, and I don't want to have to deal with that after the fact. And it's super awkward. And the last thing we want is people to put money in our tip jar that was meant for the donation fund. So that's one thing I'll do. And I'm also a big believer in, like, gratuities and tips are earned and shouldn't be expected. So I genuinely don't love talking about gratuities ahead of the wedding. Unfortunately, we kind of had to, just with certain, things in the past where we've had couples or, someone organizing a corporate event say, can we deal with it after, and we'll see how the bar goes and things like that. And then trying to chase that down after the fact is a nightmare. It's the last thing I want to do. Yeah. So I'm a big, again, believer that, you do anything nowadays, there's a tip function on the POS machine. It's like you got your
tip. But I feel like bartenders have always been tipped.
Yeah.
It's not a new thing to tip a server or like a bartender. So yeah, I feel like the honeymoon fund and the tip jar, like having them both out, I don't love, but I feel like at the end of the day, couples and your corporate, they should be tipping you.
For sure. I think there has to be some aspect of it, whether it's paid for ahead of time or whatever it might be, a hybrid of some sort. But I think it's very important. Again, in our industry, we're not charging $60 an hour for bartenders. We're not doing any of that kind of stuff. And anytime someone's in the service industry, it's kind of, again, that voodoo word, tipping and gratuities and stuff like that. But in reality, like you said, bartenders have been tipped forever, and there's a reason why, right?
There's a reason why.
Yeah.
I ran into a crazy situation very similar to like what you're like, we don't want to do, is we had a honeymoon fund, a donation fund out, and a tip jar.
Right.
And the bartenders, I don't know where the miscommunication went wrong, but the bartenders thought it was all theirs. So at the end of the night, I had to go take it away from the bartenders. Those bartenders hated me, everyone.
Yeah.
Of course they did. Yeah. Because it was full. It was like, anyway, so I just told myself I would never like run into that situation ever again, because I understand the service that they're providing, and they worked so hard, and the client at the time obviously tipped them. It wasn't like they left them with nothing, but if I were them, there was a difference between what they received and what was going in the jar. So I just felt overall like kind of like, I felt like the shady one.
Which you shouldn't.
Which you shouldn't, but it's the perspective. Like, it's just an awful situation. So I would never recommend to have both of them out.
And again, it's like for us as a business, it's the same as anything. Like, if you want good people, if you want good staff, like, you have to be attractive in terms of like the money they make and things like that. So it's like the business has to, like, literally we're in the business of staffing. So sometimes like people look at it, oh, you're charging this amount per staff. Well, it's like the staff is getting a large majority of that, and the business still has to profit off it, because that's literally how we make money. So part of that is like, we don't charge a very high wage for staff, because the tips is a portion of it. So if there's no cash tipping involved, or if there's no, if it's an open bar and things like that, we usually have to build it in, because especially nowadays, like no one carries cash with them anymore, right? Too. So that's part of it as well.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's super crazy. Kind of going off of what we were just talking about, what is the ideal wedding? Like, what would you recommend to a bride and groom? I'll give you the scenario.
Sure.
Okay. We are 120 people.
Right.
Outside.
Love that. That's I think the 80 to 120 is like a sweet spot.
Best number. So you have 120 people, including the bridal party. Okay. You have 2 bars. It's an outdoor wedding underneath a tent, on someone's property.
A special event rentals tent.
Absolutely. Okay. Timber tent. Let's imagine timber tent filled with natural bent wood chairs. What would you recommend to that couple for liquor? They kind of they want a hybrid of, they don't really want to pay for all the liquor, but they want to give a little.
Yeah, so I think we're really excited to be launching a new program with Acapella Catering. It's a brand new partnership. Shout out to them. They're an amazing business. They do thousands upon thousands of events every year. They've been a pillar in Edmonton for many, many years. I've worked with them on and off in the past for years.
Todd.
Yes, Todd is the best. Yes, Todd, Kim. They're all wonderful.
We miss you, Kim. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Melissa.
Yes, Melissa too.
Yeah, honestly, such great people to work with, and their team is definitely. Have you ever been in their building? It's such an operation. Okay,
so the last time I was in their building was probably 8 years ago. They haven't moved, right?
No.
So yeah, it was probably a long time ago, and I remember, maybe not even 8 years ago. Maybe it's sooner, but they just got the food trucks. Like, just got them. I don't even know if they were operating. I just saw one out front when I was there. So it's been a while.
Right.
I have been there.
Crazy operation. Like, the amount of events they do in a year is crazy.
Yeah.
Fun story. Evolving. We've worked with them in the past for staffing. I've delivered food for them in the past. When I first got into this industry, I was driving their vans around, dropping food off. So it's a full circle thing. But they have some really cool stuff in the works. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for mentioning this or not, but they're going to be most likely offering a mobile trailer for the bar. So it's going to be similar to their food trucks, but it's going to be a bar service, and it's going to be fully licensed. So that's the part I've been working on with them is, as I'm not sure everyone knows, 90% of the time, if you're looking to have a bar service and you're not in a licensed facility, it's in your backyard, it's at a wedding venue that doesn't have their liquor license, the clients, yourself, the people having the event are the ones who have to take out the liquor license and actually purchase the alcohol itself. There's no such thing as a bartending company that can facilitate the actual alcohol. So if they are offering that, I would suggest to check into that, because that's not something you can do legally. So what we're offering is we as you know, we have some partnerships with some great venues in the Edmonton area and have in the past, and like the Creative Hive, where we have a full menu, we have our own alcohol, we have glassware, we have staff that's always there. We have, a cocktail list and non-alcoholic options and high quality cocktails and offering and things like that. But that's specific to that venue. So if you're having an event and you're there, that's our liquor, and it makes it so you don't have to purchase the alcohol. You don't have to purchase, pay for bartenders. You don't have to get all the supplies. You don't have to figure out how much liquor to buy and where it's going to be dropped off and, how heavy it is and things like that. So we're going to be offering that type of service in a mobile aspect, which is super, super exciting. that's kind of been something that Socials, I think, has been known for. We've done over $1 million in liquor sales with our partners over the years. So I'm super proud of that. I think I've been a bit of a, I don't know what the good word is, not trailblazer, but I think I've kind of brought that in to approach venues. And as you know, like, this is a whole nother conversation, but the landscape of the venues over the last 5 years, like since COVID or since 2019, how many venues have popped up is insane.
So
and the landscape has changed so much. It used to be, halls and hotels. That was like pretty much it.
Not these venues.
No, much different. So
much different.
To be able to offer this with Acapella is something that we're super, super excited about.
How
corporate
exciting.
and
I
it's
feel like
awesome.
it's so exciting. I don't know if there's a lot of mobile bars out there.
No,
Right,
and
currently.
there's quite a few like trailers out there. But that would be like the couple having to purchase the alcohol and hiring a bartending service.
This is like
and,
just you show up and you can do it.
yeah, and we're gonna have a certain price point that we'll have for our drinks, which is inclusive of the staffing, the mixes, the liquor itself. Everything is incorporated in the price of a drink. And then, for example, if you have a wedding of 120 people. And our drinks are, let's say, $9 a drink, and you want to subsidize it. You want the guest to pay $4 and you want to pay $5 or vice versa. Your whole service, let's say if, I'm going to be terrible at the math of this.
So far you've been good.
Thank you. I feel like I'm pretty good at math, but it's a little bit different when you're...
I would like to think the same.
Let's say 5 drinks a person at 120 guests, that's 600 drinks times $5. That's $3,000.
Yeah.
That was pretty good math.
Good job. I don't know if it's right. So,
I got the thumbs up.
Okay.
Yeah. So $3,000 out of the couple's pockets to have a really like glassware and cocktails and potentially draft beer and like high quality spirits, and your guests only pay $4 a drink. I think that's like super, super reasonable, and you don't have to go through all the trouble of purchasing the alcohol and renting glassware and hiring the bartenders. So it's something we're super excited about. It's not like anything that's out there right now. Like Acapella does have their liquor license and have been offering it for a long time. It's a bit more of a standard offering and things like that. So this is definitely an elevated program that we're working on together. And we've been doing some tastings with their catering clients who are purchasing their packages for food, and now to be able to offer this for not only weddings but corporate events and festivals, and have either the mobile trailer or just us come in like Socials would and operate out of the bar that's at the facility and have that elevated experience is super exciting. So
that's
shout
awesome.
out to them.
Yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to you. I feel like that's a great relationship and like partnership, because I feel like we don't have that here. So that's what you would recommend to the 120 guests?
That, or again, like,
because that would be pretty cool, like rolling up and just like having it all set up, not to think about, your bar, like all of that. That's like,
it's a huge benefit, I think. Like,
it's like a relief, because even when, like, if we went back to like, I don't know, if I would recommend maybe like a toonie bar and you get the signature drink and like a champagne, but even then you have to think about where the glasses are coming from, who's getting the liquor, all of that.
There's a lot of moving parts, and I think people don't always realize like what's involved with the bar, and we still will do a lot of those kind of events, and we're here to help you, and we have people like yourself who we can pass the clients along and say, like, if you do really want some like high quality glassware, Socials doesn't really get involved on the glassware side of things because we're partnered with you and you're the experts and you have the capacity and you have the vehicles and the staff to manage all that. There's no reason for us to want to do that ourselves, just because our bartenders usually loading up their vehicles and coming in with all the juices and ice and mix. Like, there's a lot of stuff that there's
a lot of prep.
A lot of prep and a lot of stuff that goes into it. And so, of course, like if you're having a wedding for 120 people and you do want to purchase the alcohol and you want to make, your money back off that, that's what we've done and will do, continue to do for a long time. There's definitely, again, between our liquor discount and the rental discount and the supplies that we offer and the bartenders who are all ProServe certified and everything like that, it's definitely something that we do all the time, and again, we'll continue to do, and we like to make it as easy as possible. But this all-encompassed service that we're going to offer with Acapella, I think, is like such a cool and hands-off thing that I think, especially for corporate, I think too will be really attractive to, as you know, like when you're beginning to plan an event, the amount of vendors and moving parts, and you have your coordinators or your planners, you have the bar, you have the DJ, you have the food, you have the photographer, you have the videographer.
Sounds so stressful.
You have the, sometimes the efficient and all these different things. There's so many moving parts, I think, to take a little bit more off the plate of the organizer, I think, while still offering, again, such an elevated experience and a good cost-effective option is definitely something that'll take off, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When we're talking about taking things off of the client or couple's plate, let's talk a little bit about liability at an event.
Right.
Like when they hire you, are you now liable for that responsibility of, making sure guests get home safe and the consumption? Because I've been in the industry a long time, and I've seen lots of events, and I've seen, good things and bad things. I've seen a lot of bartenders handle things really well. I've seen them not. I've seen, guests act really nice, and I've seen them fall apart because of liquor.
Yeah.
And I think those little things that we kind of touched on beforehand, like the toonie bar or the
Right.
shots at the ceremony, all of these little things
Right.
set a tone. And I think you know your guest well. So to navigate that, you know what I mean?
Totally. And again, I think that goes into working with a reputable and experienced
So
company.
you then take on the liability.
For sure. And like we have the onus of when the staff do their pro serve training, whether you're at a bar or working in this, like a big portion of it is like you have to navigate the consumption. And I think when it comes to weddings, it's a lot looser in certain aspects of like having a bar where it's a lot more like they're a client and one or two individuals at your bar. It's a lot easier to navigate versus 100 people.
Yeah.
And, let's say the father has a little too many and things like that. Like, you can't just do it like you would at a restaurant and say, no, you're cut off and it's
No,
game over.
not.
I mean, like you can, but it's the way you go about it that makes such a big difference. And I think like having a mature staff is like the biggest portion of that, and like having the confidence to like
and a trained staff, it seems.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
How to because you are right. I feel like it's not just like a restaurant where you're like, sorry, buddy, you got to go home.
No.
This is like
they're paying,
and they're in front of their
date,
family.
100%.
Like that's 100 people. There's 120 people that they're either getting to know or they know really well.
Yeah.
So to be like.
Yeah, and I think like
That's
empowering your staff to have that like confidence
they
that
have to.
Yeah, of course. And like that's one of the things like I'll touch on or look at when it comes to staff is like, do I feel like they're a confident person and they've been doing this for a while? Like if you haven't, someone who just turned 18 and they've never worked in hospitality before, do you think they're gonna cut off the dad who's had too many drinks at a wedding? It's like, no, that's definitely challenging to do. So it's the way you go about it and understanding that it is their wedding day, and whether again it's just a guest, it's really no different if it's just some guest versus the dad of the groom or the dad of the bride.
Be.
Like you want to, like I've done it so much in the past where I'm like, it's how you go about it. Like I'll try and either approach the bride or the groom, or there's times where I really don't want to bug them because it's like they have enough going on and I want them to enjoy their day. So maybe it's like you talk to the best man and say like, hey, like this person's getting close to, like try to be proactive as opposed to reactive. Like if you wait till someone's too far gone, then it's just going to cause a whole scene. Whereas if you see someone's kind of making their way to that point, maybe mixing in a water and making it fun and a joking environment, being like, hey, maybe let's have that drink, but let's also have a water, and you can't have another drink until you've had that water. And just kind of, again, it's like I think people respect that a lot more than if you just try and be like combative and be like, hey, you've had enough. It's the way you go about it, and they have to respect you.
Well, and they have also been drinking, so like you can't really. I feel like we've all been in situations, but like people that are under the influence are not really of right mind.
Should we tell a story?
Yeah, let's tell a story. Yes. Tell us a bad story.
Oh, it's
a funny story. A cool story.
We'll go that, yeah.
Okay, all of the above.
We had a wedding.
Is this the worst thing that's ever happened?
I wouldn't say it's the
there?
worst. It's one of the stories that always kind of like, if people ask, and
This is
we've
what you're
talked
gonna
about
tell?
this, like you, I, and yourself and I and Joelle, we hung out over the summer and we had some drinks and we're all...
He really likes to name drop everyone. This is like the 8th name dropped. I love it. Joelle. Joy
No,
by
it's
Joelle.
just-
I love it. Go. We're going to tag everyone in this.
Yeah, of course. We had some drinks over the summer, and we were all just like, Joelle said this to me so many times. She's like, I could write a book and about all the stuff that's happened at weddings. And it's like so true. Like the amount of stories I have that I've probably forgotten about, or, you know, I've worked literally hundreds of weddings and events at this point. There's so many things, but one that always kind of sticks out is, there was a wedding at a reputable and big name venue. I'll stop name dropping.
No. Now he stops.
And we brought in, well, not we, the couple, their family. The couple themselves didn't even know what was going on, but they brought in a country artist from their hometown, a big country artist.
That
Again,
sounds fun.
no
Can you name the country artist?
Then I'll give away the
whatever. No, we can't.
Okay. They had him come in, and the couple was doing their first dance, and they were facing away, and the doors opened, and the country music artist started doing their first dance song, and everyone was in tears, and it was such a cool moment.
Beautiful moment.
And it was very cool of that gentleman to do that, and the night was going amazing. I even had a personal relationship to the groom from afar. Right. Like we had some mutual connections there, and near the end of the night, whiskey's a dangerous one. I think anyone can attest to that. Sometimes if you've had too much rye or whiskey, it can be a little, can go one of two ways, let's say. And it was near closing time, and the best man came over and not politely asked for a drink, and he had had too much, and I respectfully said, no, I think we're just gonna, cool her down for a bit and call it a night. Like we were literally at closing. I was in the middle of putting stuff away, and he goes, okay, I'll go get the groom, very combatively. And I'm like, oh, here we go. And the groom himself was definitely feeling it.
Yeah.
And so the two of them came over, and it's just me behind the bar, and the groom's like, give him a drink. And I was just like, no, I think we're good. And we're like, and he's
That's
like,
the difference between a wedding and a restaurant.
Yeah. And he's like, well, I'm having one too. We're going to have one together. Like, give me a drink.
No.
And I said no. And he had very clearly had his limit and was over it. Both of them probably, I would say. And I turned around and kept getting everything together to bring to the back, and started walking out, and he grabbed a glass and he whipped it and just missed my head, and it smashed everywhere. And
see, that's what I mean. Liquor changes people.
For sure.
And I feel like
nice guy too. Yeah. And it just like that.
Nice guy. Like you didn't really want to do that. You had to do it. But like it goes back to what I kind of was saying, like couples have no idea the power that liquor holds. And like I feel like it's a bigger conversation that couples, corporate, everyone should be having. Corporate's pretty good at it.
For sure.
Like corporate is corporate because they have like cabs, and they have this almost essentially like unlimited funds to make sure everyone gets home. That's not always the case.
And there's no like
for weddings.
Hidden agenda for why we don't want to serve people. It's like you've had too much.
I'm legally like responsible.
Not only that, but it's like it's your wedding day too. Like you don't want to leave on a bad note. And the poor bride was sitting there crying by herself after this beautiful, event that we had, and had the country music and everything was going so well. And then the end of her night, she's sitting there crying because he was out of control and like wasn't himself and like wasn't supposed to be on the whiskey, and people react differently. Like that's anyone who's grown up around events and parties, and whether it's your friends or your family, some people literally get happy drunk and have a good time. Other people, they turn into a different person and get combative and aggressive, and it's just like again, as bartenders, that's a really important part to be able to step in when that happens. So
well, I want to wrap this episode up. I have a couple more questions for you, fun questions.
Absolutely.
Nothing like crazy.
Not putting
but
anyone on blast.
I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing light just on socials. Socials bartending, it seems like, is it only expanding. I feel like you're going into partnership with Acapella. Who's your favorite caterer, by the way?
They're obviously
obvious. That was a trick question.
No, there's some great ones.
There's some good ones.
Thrive, Nax, Century. There's awesome.
I have to say,
Deidre.
Yes,
I knew you were gonna say
she's
that.
great.
I know
but
she's great.
Deirdre, I just tried your food for the first time at the Women's and Wealth Gala, and Good job.
Round
of applause. Like that was, I don't know what I was expecting. I mean, I've been to, Century Hospitality's restaurants, but an actual catered meal.
Right.
They killed it.
Oh, she's so amazing to work with too.
Anyways, good job. Back to not you.
Some more tags to add on.
I love name dropping too. Don't worry. So yeah, I just think there's so many things that you have on the horizon for socials, and I wish you all the best for all of that. And I think
couldn't do without people like you. I genuinely mean that. Like to be able to, there's some of our liquor reps that we work with. They have storage lockers right over here, and this is not my side of town, so it's like I have to plan.
Really far. You're real far.
To plan my whole day around this.
Coming into town.
No, whenever I'm over there, I always like to stop in, and you're always welcoming, and so is your team. Like I get a beautiful hello and nice to see you when I come in here, and your whole team is so hospitable and welcoming and so easy to work with. It feels like home away from home when I come in, and you and I get to have our chats and stop in, and you always make time for me, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's kind of like you. I think those relationships and connections matter, and I love hearing that my whole team brings that to you.
Absolutely.
So it looks like we're doing something right in this business.
100%.
Okay, this is a fun question. Okay. I would love you to tell me the top 3, the best French fries of fast food restaurants. Top 3.
Ooh.
Isn't that a tough one? Someone asked me this recently, and I was like, "What the heck? I don't know."
I almost think it's easier to say the 3 worst. Like I was just in Arizona, and we went to In-N-Out. So overrated, and their fries are like cardboard.
Okay, no, I was just in In-N-Out in Las Vegas, and I mean they're tasteless. But did you get them animal styled, like the TikTok?
Yeah, it's even worse.
Oh, I got that. The whole table was just devouring it.
Did my homework, and I got them extra crispy because I know they're super soggy, and it actually like you could snap it in half, and it was terrible.
That's so funny.
Top 3 though. Can't go wrong with Mickey D's, obviously.
That's your where do they rank?
Oh boy.
Is that like your first, or let's do last first?
Last? That's hard.
So McDonald's is your number 1?
No, I wouldn't say number 1.
Oh.
Can't go wrong with Wendy's.
Okay. I feel like Wendy's is my number 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wendy's, McDonald's. I mean, can I just throw Costco in there?
Costco, I guess
they have the best fries.
Really? Okay, so that's your number 1.
Number 1 for sure.
What about Arby's?
I haven't ate at Arby's.
Okay, well, there's an Arby's just that new opened up over there. You should try their curly fries. They're really great. Okay, so Costco, Wendy's, McDonald's.
I'd say that's probably fair.
There you have it, guys.
What's yours?
I think Wendy's.
What's top 3 though?
Wendy's. Five Guys is pretty good.
Oh, I haven't eaten there.
Only if you eat in. Isn't
it like $50 for a burger at Five Guys?
Probably. Well, that's everywhere. Yeah, like I went to McDonald's the other day with the kids, and it was like $45, and I was like, "What did I?" Thanks for the Sprite.
Isn't
like
it
I don't
worse
know.
that like you can almost get a sit-down meal for the same price as fast food?
It's so crazy.
It's like they just capitalize on knowing people don't have the time to go sit down and have a meal anymore.
It's crazy. My new restaurants are McDonald's. Like that's where we go. And then they also, this is just another pet peeve, but they also make you wait now at the drive-thru. Like it's not just a quick grab and go anymore. 100%. You pull over, ma'am, we'll be right out. Like what is happening? I'm paying more, getting like. Yeah. Anyways, I find it so crazy.
It's also how cool is it that we've been getting some new stuff, like a lot of American chains come here. I shout out Dave's Hot Chicken. We're likely doing an event with them next Wednesday.
We're also changing our podcast to only fast food restaurants.
They're trying to bring us into they're looking to bring us in for their not grand opening, but their family and friends kind of just like
with the liquor truck.
No. It's just they're gonna have like 50 people and bring in a DJ, and they are bringing us in hopefully to serve some drinks for their friends and family. So that's Dave's. Have you ever had Dave's Hot Chicken?
No,
me neither. But sounds cool.
But have you heard of Wingstop? That's another one I want to come.
Well, Krispy Kreme just opened up.
Krispy Kreme. We have Firehouse Subs. Anyway.
Firehouse Subs is delicious. Great bread.
On that note, we're going to head over to Chipotle.
Are they coming here?
They're already here. What do you mean?
Look at Edmonton.
It's right
Edmonton
by Krispy
catching up with the
Kreme
world.
And Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yes, Chick-fil-A. Yeah.
Firehouse Sub. Yeah. It's right by there. Anyways, thank you all for listening. Until next time.